Hey, Ms. Barnhill.
Hey, Miss Friedman.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Good. So let's talk a little bit about our observation that I did yesterday during your math lesson.
Okay.
So how do you think it went?
I think it went very well. I took into account the incentives you helped me put into place, and they really helped the transitions into the activity and keeping them hands on, like on task. We had one, we had one student that I gave the cubes, the talking cubes to that you suggested. So
Good.
every time he blurted out, I took a cube. If he had all of his cube or however many cubes he had at the very end, he got a punch in his Gator ticket.
Fabulous. And what I loved also is I remember your student, you were concerned about your autistic student with the sensory, but he seemed to really do really well.
Yes.
Do you have any insight as to why you think it went well? Did you establish a conversation first?
I did. He's very driven by incentives. So he realized that there was something at the end of the tunnel, that whenever
Absolutely.
he followed through with what we were doing, he would be rewarded. So it really helped him a lot stay on task and stay focused. We have a chart, that first thin chart you saw on his desk.
Yeah.
So first you complete this, then you can take your break that is in his IEP. So that really helped him too.
Awesome. And that's another good strategy that you had implemented all on your own, which was fabulous because it's a visual for him, but also it will help other kids too when they hear you telling him that and showing it to him. So I wanted to start off, I know in our pre-observation and other observations, we discussed different ways to make your activities more engaging, and you did a phenomenal job not only making your mini lesson engaging, but also in your guided math groups and your station rotations, making those engaging. So well done with that.
Thank you.
And I think that helped with your transitioning from your whole group on the carpet to their different locations around the classroom, and even in your guided math rotation, and even the fact that they had something that was tempting for them to want to eat, but they knew the expectation prior, and you implemented CHAMP, so they really knew exactly what to do. So well done on your part.
Thank you.
Do you have anything that you thought was more of a challenge throughout the lesson?
Well, with my co-teacher, we had discussed her putting out supplies and how to put out the supplies for the students. It would already be at their desk as I'm doing the mini lesson. Since we rotate from reading into math, we couldn't be on there before the lesson started.
Absolutely.
So I think that was our only difficulty, was how the materials were handed out in the appropriate time. So that's something that we had to talk about after the lesson.
Okay.
Just to make sure that as a class it runs smoother.
Perfect. So did you feel as though it kind of impeded on the timing of your lesson or maybe the learning of them? Or
probably the timing, and then if you allow too much time with leeway, it causes behavior issues. So luckily we didn't have any of that, but it could have easily escalated to that.
Absolutely. So I wanted to just take a note, and you have it right here also, and we charted our positive and our negative reinforcements, and then your feedback. So whether it was positive feedback or feedback on the transitions, and just to see how we were working with that. And I want you to take a note how you didn't really have many negative responses towards the kids, or negative you didn't have to take anything away too many times, especially with the cubes, for example. You had way more positives, and your feedback was so timely, and your tone was really good. So there was no yelling. You were just really calm throughout the whole thing, and your students understood where you were going. So wonderful with that. So what would you say the next steps you would like to be?
Next steps would be working with my co-teacher, more of planning out who exactly is doing what at exact times.
Okay.
Because it easily could have been handed out quickly and then assisted with the mini lesson. Catching those kids that aren't really getting it, that I maybe didn't see, or asking more questions, higher level questions that maybe I overlooked, or lower end questions that the lower ones needed.
Okay.
So that's something that we have been working on all year, and we're continuing to work on.
Absolutely. It's like a marriage.
Yes, it is.
So maybe the next steps that we could work on is, and if you feel comfortable and if she feels comfortable, maybe we can come together and even develop a lesson plan where it's really explicit as to, all right, I'm going to do this and you're going to do this.
Right.
And then when you're doing this, I'm going to do this. And that way, maybe planning together, and both of you kind of take that ownership. So she doesn't necessarily feel like it's on her, but you guys are working on it together. and then always having that open communication, which is super hard.
It is.
Especially when the kids are here. So I definitely understand that. So maybe we can, develop a time where we, if it's weekly or, develop the plan of what will work well with you and what will work well with her, and then somehow combining those two to try and help that. So then your lessons will be more engaging.
All right. Sounds
Awesome,
good.
but fabulous job.
Thank you.
Yeah.